All it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day.
If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me. I pass you every day and you don't notice me. But these guys, what, because Thomas Wayne cried about them on TV?
You have a problem with Thomas Wayne, too.
Yes, I do. Have you seen what it's like out there, Murray? Do you ever actually leave the studio? Everybody just yells and screams at each other. Nobody's civil anymore. Nobody thinks what it's like to be the other guy. Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
In 2019's Joker, Arthur Fleck isn't just a man struggling with mental illness. He's a symbol of what happens when society consistently fails its most vulnerable. Gotham City, much like the real world, is divided. Those at the top thrive while those at the bottom fight to survive. Arthur is stuck at the bottom. He's ignored, ridiculed, and abandoned, and his transformation into the Joker is less about him becoming evil and more about a broken system creating its own worst nightmare. Arthur's story starts with pain. He's a man who wants to connect, to bring joy to people, yet every attempt he makes is met with rejection. He works a dead-end job as a clown, gets mocked for his mental illness, and is beaten down, literally and figuratively, by the world around him. What's devastating is how preventable all of this was. Arthur goes to therapy, but is not really cared for. It's a rushed meeting where his counselor doesn't actually listen, probably because the system doesn't give her the resources to. When funding for his sessions is cut, Arthur's lifeline to stability is gone. Now this is where the film starts to feel uncomfortably real. In Arthur, we see the struggles of so many people who live with mental illness and poverty, left to fend for themselves in a system that doesn't simply care. His pain, his anger, comes from knowing that he's invisible to the people who could actually make a difference. The tipping point, though, isn't just about Arthur, it's about Gotham itself. The city's wealth gap is huge, with billionaires like Thomas Wayne living in luxury while the rest of Gotham rots. When Arthur kills 3 rich men on the subway, the city's lower class treats him like a hero, not because they approve of the violence, but because they're desperate for someone, anyone, to fight back against the system that's kept them down. Arthur doesn't set out to lead a revolution, but the Joker becomes a symbol of rebellion. What makes this even more interesting is how it mirrors Batman directly. Bruce Wayne and Arthur are 2 sides of the same coin. They've both experienced pain, loss, and tragedy, but their responses couldn't be more different, but also similar. Bruce has resources, wealth, and the ability to channel his grief into something productive. Arthur has none of that. Instead, his pain festers, his loneliness grows, and his only outlet is chaos. I bring this point up because it highlights the role privilege plays in how people respond to trauma. Bruce can afford therapy if he needs it. He has Alfred to support him, a mansion to retreat to, and the means to train his body and mind to become the Batman. Arthur has none of those things. The Joker's chaos isn't born out of inherent evil. It's the result of being ignored, dismissed, and pushed past the breaking point. One bad day. Joker forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about how mental health is treated in today's society. Arthur's condition isn't taken seriously by the people around him. His uncontrollable laughter, caused by a neurological disorder, is treated as a joke or an annoyance. When he's finally pushed to violence, it's not because he's mentally ill, it's because his mental illness was ignored until it exploded. The biggest thing to me that stands out is how Arthur's transformation into the Joker feels almost inevitable. He's not a comic book supervillain who falls into a vat of chemicals and becomes evil overnight. He's the result of years of neglect, cruelty, and systematic failure. The Joker doesn't create chaos, he is the chaos that society bred. The Joker is not just a movie, it's a warning of when society ignores the needs of its most vulnerable. And what makes the Joker haunting is that the story feels so real. When we ignore people's struggles, we're creating something much darker.